One of the aspects of the war that I have not touched on yet is one of my favorite parts of it, interestingly enough, is the air war. We've seen a lot of really dramatic things occur with air power from the beginning of the war, where they're just literally popping off at each other with pistols or rifles, occasionally throwing things like bricks at one another or dumping spikes out of boxes to fall on people below, to some very sophisticated machines by 16, 17, and beyond of fire that are capable of firing through their own propellers, who can do all sorts of dips and rolls, fly well over 100 miles per hour, get up to 15,000 feet quite easily. You're also going to see things like the first blitz on Great Britain occurs in 16 and would continue into 17, where not only do we have dirigibles, Zeppelins, these massive airships floating over the English Channel and dropping ordnance on civilian targets, which interestingly enough, Kaiser Wilhelm II did not want to happen initially because he was afraid of hurting some of his distant family members there at Buckingham Palace. But eventually London becomes a target as well, not just the coastal naval elements, but London itself becomes a target. But we would see things like Gotha bombers, these massive bombers that Germany builds to fly out to England and drop ordnance on them and come back again. These planes, because the engines are so underpowered, they need lift, and they have a longer wingspan than our bombers in World War II. World War I has some truly dynamic developments on technology across all fronts. And I apologize for so broad brushing so much of this for your listeners. I really encourage you guys to dive into books, to dive into podcasts. My own podcast, the History Things podcast, has a lot of really great World War I episodes where we deal with certain battles or certain elements of the war. So if you don't mind a little bit of a plug there for my show.
We definitely want to plug your show, of course. If people want to get more information, this is the way to do it. You're giving a general overview. We want to direct people to the best information. That would be your podcast and anything else you have. And Brett, I think you'd be interested to know your favorite guy, the Red Baron, was,
Yeah. Are you a fan of the Baron there, Brett?
Maybe dabble a little Red Baron. No. I was watching one of the videos yesterday. I was watching it jumped it to him a little bit. Just a real quick. Hopefully this does not divert us. I'm trying to do the calculation in my head, but I can't do it right now. Was there still people from the Civil War still alive at that time?
Yes. Yeah, there's even a couple that try to enlist for the United States.
Jesus, they never know.
Yeah, they don't. They're too old and they're very politely declined by the United States military. But there's a couple of guys who do try to enlist that fought in the American Civil War. I don't believe any of them actually go into service, though. There might be one or two generals, but they're not going over to France. Like
I would just
on this side of the pond.
Curious, not to be on this rabbit hole, but to kind of pick their brains and like at that time and say, oh my, like we went from fighting next to each other, walking to planes and saying they're doing all these little fancy moves and the guns and the technologies and advancements that like it's such a shift, and like if you really sit back and look at that, it's kind of mind boggling to see that difference between that time frame.
It is. It absolutely is.